destroy life for their own selfish gain. Now, this character is quite common among the human race in so many sense. There are people who have been possessed by this form of witchcraft and wizards that they are probably not aware of. I myself, I can badge to say that there are the signs of doing bad or doing good, which reflects in my own life. Now, would you stand in my shoes to admit to such a truth? I think the truth has so much power, and the truth does a lot to the human life. But the thing is, there are some times that you reveal the truth, and it is the moment of your guilt, or the moment where you become exposed to evil. Because all evil does is to wait to get as much as information, because they cannot acquire information by themselves. So they are there lying low, waiting to hear, for you to give in to them, for you to surrender the facts of your life to them. So they have so many avenues of power in the spiritual sense to use. They have so many tools to use to do the evil purposes, the evil things that they have in mind. But they do not have the key to it until you give it to them. So saying the truth requires a very careful and tactical approach where you are altering the truth does matter. Just in this media here, where I probably had to put it out there, you never know who is listening. You never know who is knowing. All that is out there is a dilution, a mix, a dilution of, let's say, both good and evil among the race out there. And the chances that evil would take advantage of this, as I said from my tape earlier on, that others will take advantage of it, but I'm not too keen about it, because it is better. It's better that if there is a tiny bit of a single soul out there that needs to be, tinkled a little to sort of become aware of situations that might save that soul, that is better, is worth it, than letting it all, all being, soaked in or dried up. It's like an ocean of water, of, flowing right from the seas into the land. And if there is a means to reach out to help a soul before this catastrophe or this epidemic takes place, it has to be done. It will go through the means of hitting walls and all kinds of things. You see, that part of the issue really only should be left to the living God, the Almighty God, the authority that is above all things, not the human authority, but the authority that, as a result, we all are existing. That is the Almighty God. We have to lay that part to the Almighty God, because if the Almighty God then wants His message, or let's say his means of reaching out, be tangled, or be trapped, or be tortured, or be tormented by witchcrafts and wizards, then so be it. You see, if you have the power then to defend and to protect yourself, whether your words, whether your videos, whether anything you do, you will do so. But the means of doing such things will not end up reaching out to what target that you are supposed to reach. Now, as a human being, in our own small way, we help each other as much as we can. That is what it is. Your strength cannot go beyond certain limits. Even though you may have your desires cannot override the desires of the other. Your desires cannot give you the right to interfere in the rights of the other. And so there is that limitation as to what a human being can do But as to God, there is no limitations, because no matter what he do, he can do it well, perfect, without offense, without any worry, without pain, without any, gain. He will do it. But when it comes to man, it requires. Now, who wants us to do anything at all? That's one thing also we have to have at the back of our mind. Who wants you to do anything? Now tell me, in my small responsibility, in this small world that I'm surrounded with, I can see clearly that I may be standing right there at a train station. Or let's say I may be right here in the room, and there I was. Someone is in a situation where I can reach out. To my view, I can reach out and give a hand to help make that person physically become safe from whatever damage or distraction or end of his life that probably was about to take place. That is my reach out. That is what I can do. And even that, if it is possible to save the person, you do so. But whereby it comes to a more difficult and a more complicated situation where you can't do anything. You can't do anything. That is what it comes into the place where we say God. The existence of the Almighty is required for that to be resolved. It means somebody sick with probably AIDS. AIDS has been the current situation where humans have not been able, all effort has been put, and there hasn't been any any medical help that can eradicate it, except what can sustain it or somehow prevent it from getting worse as they keep trying their best. But the whole idea here is that it cannot be helped when you get into that situation except a divine help. All human beings have lived for all this time. The divine help has not come. Probably others believe that gradually the discoveries that the scientists are doing, the human effort, is a divine help. But I don't consider that as a divine help. I only know from my fed-up information and my careful consideration and thinking things through, I know that divine help is something that can be done instantly. Because what issues that we address, whatever issues we address, is not as huge as this big universe that we live in. It's not as huge as this. But if we, especially Christian or Muslim, believe that this huge place was built in 7 days, or was built in lesser than that, or even was built or created in 1,000 years, then you can imagine that the tiny trivial issues that we sort of complain about can be resolved in a second by this same great and mighty, magnificent creator who brought us all into existence. So his presence can do that. Now, this said and done, and somehow might be just a viewpoint or a suggestion, but let's go by our faith, what we believe, what we claim to believe, what we have established in our society or generation that we live by every day. That is something regarding Christianity. Then again, cultural grounds, religious grounds of Islamic, Buddhism, whichever religious ground, and the cultural aspect of things, what we have learned, what we have said of God or our God or whatever God you may be belonging to. If you define God and you define him as a great and magnificent God, a God with power, supreme power, power that is limitless, power that cannot be rejected or cannot be refused, power that is not there to damage but to sort of build and make things better and well, then you sort of have defined God in such a grounds that you and I can stand side by side, and move